Hello, today we are solving October 2023 paper, Unit 2. PedalPower PLC is a new company about to enter the United Kingdom market supplying electronic bicycles or the e-bikes. PedalPower PLC has decided between two possible options. The option 1 is given here. Okay, it has a plan. It includes all the fixed cost, variable cost and the sales that's happening, and based on that there is some questions. And then they have also given an option 2, and this has some fixed cost and variable cost, and then based on that they have to decide which option to select. So let's start with the first question. Okay, it says that calculate the break-even point for the production of e-bikes in the UK for year 1 in sales unit. So let's write first the formula. What is a break-even point? Okay, the break-even point is going to be equal to total fixed cost. Okay, it is total fixed cost for all the units divided by contribution per unit. Selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit. So that is the contribution per unit. Point of sales means at that point they have to at least sell this many quantities or units. Beyond that, they will, if they are able to sell more quantity, they will make a profit. If the sales unit sold is less than the quantity below a break-even quantity point, then they will make a loss. So they need to sell at least this much in the business. That's what we are going to determine. So for that, first let's identify what are all the fixed cost. Okay, now we can see that fixed cost will not vary with the quantity sold. They are all fixed. Okay, they are completely not based on the product sold. So let's identify the fixed cost. So the first one we can see is the management salaries. It's a fixed cost. The next cost is see, we can see delivery cost to the retailers. It will be per e-bike. This is a variable cost. So let's write here variable cost. This is going to change as per the bike sold. Now direct labor cost. Okay, this is also based on the per bike. Okay, so it will be 62.5 per bike. Then manager salaries will be 68,000 per month. It is not based on the bike sold, e-bike sold. So this is a fixed cost. Next one is the material cost. Material cost will be 130 per e-bike. So this is also a variable cost because it is based on the number of e-bikes or the products sold by the business. Next one is other fixed cost will be 35,000 per month. It's fixed. Okay, and it is not very dependent on the number of e-bikes sold. So I am going to call this cost as fixed cost. Next one, power cost will be 21,750 per quarter, 3-month period plus £4 per e-bike. Here we can see some of the cost is getting fixed. For 3-month period, this will be the cost amount they are saying, plus there is a variable quantity also which is dependent on the number of e-bikes sold. So this one has a variable cost, okay, variable fixed cost as well as variable cost because it is dependent on the number of e-bikes sold. So this has both. Next one is the rent of the factory. It will be 75,000 per month. We can see that it is not dependent on the e-bike number of products sold. So this is also going to be your fixed cost. Okay, this is also your fixed cost. Next, royalty payments to the designer of the e-bike will be £20 per bike. So it is dependent on the number of bike sold. So if he sells more bike, so he will get more royalty payments has to be made. So this is a variable cost. Now each bike will be sold to retailers for £320. So this represents the selling price. Okay, this is going to represent the selling price per unit. Next, in 1 year, production will be 45,000 e-bikes. So the number of quantities sold Okay, what is the volume or the quantity sold? Okay, it is going to be 45,000. So estimated quantity sold is 45,000 e-bikes, and 95% are expected. So 95% of this 45,000 will get sold is the sales quantity that is projected. Now let's calculate the total fixed cost, okay, for each, and this has to be done for the entire year. Okay, you have to bear in mind everything has been given for a month, but you will have to calculate this for 1 year. What will be your break even point? Okay, it helps you to determine how many units need to be sold so that there is no loss, no gain in the business, okay, with the data given. Now first one, our job is to find total fixed cost. Total fixed cost, okay. So now we can see first one is a manager's salaries. It is going to be a total fixed cost. Then we have here other fixed cost. So that's also one of the parameters. So there is other fixed cost. Then after that you have the power cost, which has both fixed cost and the variable cost. And then you have the rent, okay, rent of the factory, which also has a fixed cost. So when I add up all this, I am going to get the total fixed cost for the product which they have which they are planning to sell. Now, so and finally you find the total fixed cost. Now let's write here the manager's salaries. The manager's salaries we are seeing is he says that it is 68,000 per month. So for an entire year it will be 68,000 times 12. So that's going to be equal to 816,000. So let's write here. So 816,000. Then you have the other fixed cost. Other fixed cost, we can see that it is 35,000 per month. So it is 35,000 times 12. So that's going to be equal to 420,000. So let's write it here, 420,000. Then you have the power cost. We can see that 21,750 for 3-month period. So for the entire year, okay, if I say how many months are there, so for the 3 months it is 21,000. So there are 3 months, and so for every 3-month period the fixed cost is 21,750. So 21,750 times 4, okay, times 4. So that is going to be equal to it is going to be equal to 87,000. So that is going to be equal to 87,000. Then you have the rent. We can see that the rent is 75,000 per month, and so when you calculate for the entire year, 75,000 times 12, so that's going to be equal to 900,000. So the rent paid is 900,000. And then you have the total fixed cost. So let's calculate the total fixed cost. So total, when you add up 816 plus 420 plus 87 plus 900, it is equal to 22. It is 223,000. Okay. So this is the total fixed cost. Now our next job is to find the variable cost, okay, per unit. So what is the variable cost? Okay, that's the second thing we have to find, variable cost per unit. Now we can see that first one is the delivery cost is there. Okay, so let's write all the variable costs here. So there is a delivery cost, there is a direct labor cost, delivery cost, there is direct labor, then you have, okay, then you have the material cost, then you have the power cost which has also the variable cost, so material, power, and then there is royalty, so these are the variable costs: delivery, direct labor, material, power, and royalties. And finally, so you will calculate the total variable cost per unit. Okay, you will calculate the total variable cost per unit. So that's the idea. Now let's find out the delivery cost is 18 pounds per e-bike for the delivery. So let's write here. So it is just 18. Then you have direct labor which is 62.5, and then you have the material cost per unit is 130 pounds. Okay, and then you have the power is 4 pounds per bike. So let's write here 4 pounds per bike, and then you have power royalty is 20 pounds per e-bike, so 20.00. Now we need to add up all of this. So let's write here add. So 18 plus 62.5 plus 130. Okay, 130 plus 4 plus 20, that's going to be equal to 234.5. So that is 234.50 pounds. Now this is the variable cost. Now, and we have what is the selling price per unit. So let's write here selling price per unit. Selling price per unit is going to be equal to 320 pounds, which is given. Okay, now the selling price per unit is 320 pounds. Now let's calculate the break even point. So break even point is going to be equal to a break even point in the break even point for sales units, okay, is going to be equal to the fixed cost. The fixed cost is this much. So it's going to be equal to this much divided by selling price per unit, that is 320 minus 234.5. So that will be equal to units. So this is the amount of sales they need to make so that they don't face any loss